Welcome to Philip's Kitchen. Want to make this amazing bourbon caramel sauce that you could drizzle on coffees, ice cream when guests arrive? Follow my channel for great recipes like this. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, like, enjoy the video. All right, so for this recipe, you're gonna need 1 cup of sugar, 110 grams of butter, half a teaspoon of lemon juice, 2 to 3 pinches of salt, half a cup of heavy cream, quarter cup of water, and 2 ounces of bourbon. I chose Jim Beam. I love Jim Beam. That's why I took it. Now you could finish the bottle, but I recommend you finish the recipe before finishing that Jim Beam. All right. So let's start. All right. So we're gonna start off with the sugar. Quarter cup of water, and we're gonna turn on the stove at medium heat. You can stir it out a little. There we go. Just let it all dissolve. Perfect. And we're gonna add the lemon juice. We need the acid so it doesn't crystallize, because if one of these crystals from the side of the walls of the the pot falls in, it could ruin the whole recipe once you're whisking. We don't want that. And now we're just gonna leave it be till it simmers, and that's what we're gonna go for, a nice simmer. We don't want it to boil. If it boils, turn off the heat. You can remove it to the side and then put it back and simmer it again. Also, be very careful when you do this recipe. It is very hot sugar. If it goes on your skin, it's like glue. It's gonna burn you and it's gonna stick to your skin. So be very careful. If you're not used to being in the kitchen, ask somebody, do it with somebody. Just be very, very careful. So right now, it's still not simmering. We're still waiting. We're not whisking. The acid from the lemon juice is gonna keep it nice and not crystallized. So just keep watching. Do not walk away from the pot. There you go, little bubbles are coming out. That's perfect. That's what we were looking for. Just nice little simmer, no boiling. So we're gonna lower the temperature right now just a little bit. And we're gonna leave this until we have the desired color of the caramel. So just go a nice brown, maybe the color of the whiskey, to kind of give you an idea. See, I'm just gonna lower just a little bit. I'll stir it once. And again, be very careful. This would really hurt. I just lowered the heat down to like a nice medium low, and it's still simmering. It's almost a little boil, so we're gonna remove it a little bit. Don't want to touch it too much. Keep it nice and simmering. These bubbles right here are a little bit too big. We're looking for something like this. So right now it's simmering perfectly. As you can see, it went a little bit more clearer. So now it's gonna start to change color soon. All right, guys, look at this. So it's been about 10 minutes and it started already changing color. So I'll be looking at the color of my bourbon in the back to kind of match that. And whatever we add, any liquids to this, we're gonna remove it off the heat. If you put it in there on the heat, you could hurt yourself. So be very, very careful. All right, so I got the color I wanted. So now we're gonna remove it from the heat and we're gonna add the butter. I went ahead and got a mitten. And when we add the butter, we're gonna take the butter and we're gonna put it in towards that way. So here you go. We're gonna put it right here. Off the heat. Whisk. And we're adding the butter, and it's gonna fizz up, so don't worry. That's normal. It's normal for it to fizz. Whisk, 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 whisk. Fast, 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 fast. You want to melt that butter. Perfect. Look at that color. Beautiful. Now I'm going to put it back on the heat. Just like that. Now, since it's actually a little bit cooled down, we could add our whiskey, our bourbon to it. Should be no problem. Whisk, 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 whisk. Bourbon again. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Don't be scared, but you gotta keep whisking. Smells great. Whisk, whisk, whisk. And it's going up a little bit, so we're gonna remove it from the heat again. Whisk, whisk, whisk. I'm gonna put 2 pinches of salt into the caramel. And we're gonna add also the heavy cream. Whisk, whisk, whisk. There we go. We're gonna put it back onto the heat. Now what we're going to be doing is looking for the consistency that we want. So a little thicker, a little runnier. If it gets too thick, you could always add a little bit more cream. If it's a little too runny, you could just put it back on the heat and evaporate the water. So just keep whisking. We want to bring it back to a nice simmer. Keep stirring. There you go, it's coming back to a nice little simmer. Look at that. Keep stirring. You can lower the heat just a little bit. You don't want it to come out of the pot. I'm gonna go a little bit lower. You can lift it a little bit. Put it back on the heat. I want it just a little bit more thicker than this. It's still a little bit too runny. So I'll probably be doing this for another 5 minutes, 6 minutes, going up and down. Could lower the temperature just a little bit too. All right, so now we whisked for about 6 minutes over the heat. I got the color I wanted. I went a little bit darker, but that's perfect because I want it a little bit thicker. So now we're gonna just leave it right here. Now you could grab any little jar. I'm gonna grab a little mason jar like that. And you wanna heat this jar up in the microwave for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds to warm it up so it's a warm jar so that this doesn't break your glass. All right, so let's pour this in.